Silbs Silbernagel is a member, and I'm doing my best, Silbs, to pronounce these words correctly. Silbs is a member of the Hunkpapa Lakota Oyate Standing Rock Sioux tribe, descendant of Turtle Mountain Chippewa tribe, and descendant of Russian Germans. Born in Mobridge, South Dakota, and raised in Sidney, Montana, upon finishing high school, he moved to Billings, Montana, where he resided from 1995 to 2018. Silbs earns his living primarily in sales during that time, while earning a Bachelor of Science from Montana State University Billings and an MBA from the University of Mary in Bismarck, North Dakota. Upon earning his MBA, he was hired as an adjunct professor of American Indian Studies at MSUB. In 2018, he accepted a one-year contract at Black Hills State University in Spearfish, South Dakota. While teaching at BHSU, he began to study the subject of human potential and success, which turned out to be the most life-changing field of study he has ever embarked upon. Silbs is now an entrepreneur with multiple income streams. He co-owns a sign making company in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and sells machines that produce the highest quality hydrogen-rich, alkalinized, ionized filtered water in the world. Last but certainly not least, he's a human potential and success teacher coach, which is the most honorable and fulfilling career he has ever experienced. He believes in the secret to a happy, healthy, successful life lies within the way that you think and the water you drink. It is a profit and privilege to be the keynote speaker for this event. His goal is to help you understand you, and in order to attract the good into your life that you desire. Please help me welcome our keynote speaker today, Silbs Silbernagel.
How midakiapi, hihana lachchi, oyate want mushla hokshila hemie. Greetings, my relatives. Great, beautiful morning to you. My name is the boy who has compassion for his people. That is my Lakota name. And as you could tell from my introduction, or from the introduction shared just now, it is basically everything to me. My Lakota heritage, my Ojibwe heritage, my Russian German heritage. As you can see, my last name is Silbernagel, and that is definitely a German last name, and that's my father's last name. I'm a member of the Hunkpapa Lakota Oyate, the Standing Rock Sioux people, the most commonly known as Sitting Bulls people. And my great grandfather Catches the Bear, or Bear Catches, was Sitting Bull's first cousin, right-hand man, cousin. They died together back in December of 1890. So I have a very strong, just a really strong relationship with my Lakota lineage, and it's absolutely everything to me. And I was gifted the name Oyate want Mushala Hokshila by a couple of my grandmothers, probably 20 years or so ago, and that translates to the boy who has compassion for his people. So that being said, it's my life's mission to live up to that name and to be compassionate, and it's a huge characteristic and of utmost importance in my world. So I'd like to start out by thanking you folks with Toastmasters. One of my childhood friends I grew up with in Montana, Laria Lovick, reached out to me to ask me if I would do this keynote speech, and it's an absolute incredible honor, and I'm incredibly humbled by the opportunity. I know Toastmasters to be a fantastic entity, and it's humbling and flattering for the fact that you folks, being a public speaking organization, to rely on me to provide this speech for you this morning. A little bit of background. I am, like I said, like mentioned my description, my bio. I'm originally from South Dakota. I was born across the river from where Sitting Bull was born and died and is buried, down on the Grand River of basically the North and South Dakota border. And when I was a young boy, I moved to Sydney, Montana. My father got a job in Sydney, and so coincidentally, that's where I was raised. I went through my first grade through 12th grade education there in Sydney, and that's where I met my friend Laria as kids. So my parents come from humble beginnings. As any of you know, the plight of the American Indian, and I'm not going to go on and on about that, but I'm a product of that, and I've chosen to grow myself into who I've become today, and to continue to study and to grow throughout my life. And one of the most exciting things about this course of study that I've embarked on, this study of human potential and success, is the fact that I know that I'm going to be studying myself, and therefore studying all of you every day of my life for the rest of my life. And it's incredibly exciting that I know that I'm going to be constantly growing, and I'm going to be constantly experiencing these growths throughout my life. It's the most honorable endeavor I've ever embarked on. I come from my mother dropped out of high school as a freshman in high school. My father finished high school. So my sister and I are first generation college students and college graduates. I made the decision in my late 20s to embark on a bachelor's degree, and I finished it, and I wanted more. I craved more. I became addicted to education, to learning, to growing, and then I embarked on my MBA, and I earned that. And upon earning my MBA, one of my former professors at my alma mater reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in teaching American Indian Studies, which was an absolute high honor. I enjoyed it immensely. Matter of fact, I was recently asked by Haskell Indian Nation School to teach a couple of classes as an adjunct this coming spring, so that's in the works right now. My experience at Black Hills State was a beautiful opportunity to get back amongst my Lakota people and to teach Lakota students like me, and to prove to them that it is possible to succeed at a very high level in spite of where you come from, in spite of your beginnings, how humble or not that they are. So, that's kind of the long and short of who I am and where I come from. As I was teaching at Black Hills State, my fiance and I embarked on this field of study of human potential and success. And we came across several books, and it just started to take this snowball effect. And I just took to it like a fish to water, as they say, and I absolutely love it. It is incredibly fulfilling and rewarding. I'm working on growing my business and to teach and coach people personally, one-on-one, or in a corporate environment, or so on and so forth. The possibilities and opportunities in this field of study are limitless. I mentioned in my biography, I sell the machines that produce this water. This is the best water in the entire world. And just like he said in the bio, I believe that it's everything in this world is the way you think and the water you drink. So let's get started here. I was communicated to by Laria the theme for this event, and she mentioned that you were interested as a whole to be re-engaged, re-energized, and rejuvenated. So what that tells me is that you were engaged at one point, but you want to increase that to a higher level. You had energy at one point, but we need to get that energy to a higher level. And to rejuvenate, if you look it up in the Oxford Dictionary, it says to make anew, or make fresh, make clean, make a new way of doing things, if you will. So that being said, of course, we know that it's nobody's responsibility. It's not my responsibility to create those things in your life, and that everything in this world comes from within. Everything that is in your environment comes from within you. So I'm going to go through some of the key lessons that I work toward on a regular basis and that I teach my students in this field of study. And so everybody in this world wants to succeed. What is the definition of success? And the best definition of success I've ever come across is told by one of my mentors that I study under, and many of you may have studied under him as well. His name is Earl Nightingale. And Earl Nightingale's definition of success that he has shared is, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Now, that is success. So why the progression of a worthy ideal? What is a worthy ideal? That is a goal. And if you don't have goals, you are going to be wandering aimlessly through your life. And you know, it's like comparing to getting in your car in the morning and putting it in drive and just hitting the gas and you don't have your hands on the steering wheel. You have no idea where you're going. You have no destination. You can, you know, realize that you're not going to get very far. You're going to run into a wall or something, so on and so forth. And it's because you don't have a destination, and a goal is a destination. And another one of my mentors who I study under, Bob Proctor, who just turned 86 years old last week, and he has the energy of somebody a third of his age. And he is basically the modern day godfather of this whole way of thinking, human potential and success. And he is incredibly good at it, and he's been studying it since the early 1960s, and it has paid incredible dividends in his life. And when he's talking about goals, there are three different types of goals that I'm going to be sharing with you. And we have A-type goals, we have B-type goals, and C-type goals. Now, an A-type goal is something that you've already done, right? So, like, say, you know, I've participated in A-type goals on more than one occasion. And the fact, just for an example, buying a brand new vehicle. I used to be in sales. I sold Fords. I'm kind of a Ford loyalist. I drive a Lincoln presently. But when I was a salesperson, I ordered a brand new Ford from the factory. And it was quite the experience. I made the decision to do it, and I did it. I ordered it according to all the equipment and so on and so forth. It was incredibly fulfilling, incredibly rewarding. And the feeling that I received from it and driving that car on a regular basis, it was an incredible feeling. Now, getting to that A-type goal scenario, a couple of years later when my lease was up, I decided to do it again. But it didn't have the impact on me as it did the first time, because it was a goal that I had already accomplished, and that is an A-type goal, right? And people, you know, we have the tendency to try to recreate these events that we had a good experience creating. Another example is the individuals who go to the same event year after year. My fiance and I are motorcycle enthusiasts, and we've been to Sturgis, right there in the beautiful Casapa, the Black Hills, the center of everything that is, and according to our Lakota way of life. It's the Black Hills to the Lakota people are in comparison like the Vatican is to the Catholic people. And so being able to teach in that area was like I mentioned before, incredibly rewarding. But we went to that event, the Sturgis motorcycle rally, and it was an absolutely incredible time. And you know, we went again a year after, and then a year after, but it starts to lose its zest. That's those A-type of goals. If you're doing those things time and time again, they're going to lose their zest. They're going to lose their zeal, and you know, people just kind of go through the motions. Oh, I go to Sturgis every year, or I live here in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Frontier Days, the daddy of them all, as they call in the rodeo world, and there's countless country music songs written about this town and so on and so forth because of that event that takes place annually. It obviously got canceled this year because of the circumstances we're all very aware of. And you know, it's those types of things. The people that just go to events year after year because they're looking for that same feeling that they got from that very first time that they experienced it. And it's about creating a result. It's about falling in love with an idea, doing something that you've never done before. That is where the real goals happen. That's where the magic happens. And, you know, falling in love with an abstraction. It's one of my other mentors, Dr. Joe Dispenza, if you've ever heard of him. That's what he says, fall in love with an abstraction. And that's a beautiful thing. I love it, just so eloquently said. And that's the deal. Fall in love with an abstraction, something you've never done before, something you have no idea how you're going to get it, but you know that you have that goal and the how doesn't matter. And that you wake up every single morning and the how doesn't matter. You just know what your goal is. I carry a goal card with me everywhere I go, as per the recommendation of my mentor, Bob Proctor. Knowing, always looking, always thinking about your goal. And what happens is you start to transform as a person, and you start to embody and encompass these ideologies that you have in mind, that who you want to be, because you cannot attract anything in this world unless you are in the same vibration with it. And, you know, some of the most common things that people want out of life are money freedom, time freedom, and they want to have a good partner, a good relationship with a love interest, if you will. And you are attracting into your life right now. And when you decide anything you decide, you're going to attract into your life what you're vibrating at. If you want to be wealthy, if you want to have that money freedom, and it's all about freedom. So let's focus on freedom. But if you want that money freedom or that time freedom and so on and so forth, you have to be in that vibration already. You have to act, think as if it's already here. And you know, in one of the Earl Nightingale tapes that I listened to, he talks about this famous restaurateur out in LA, and he was being interviewed by a reporter, and was asked, when did you become successful? And his response was, I was successful while I was sleeping on park benches. I was successful when I was sleeping on park benches because I knew what I wanted and I knew that I would get it. And that's the acting as if, that's the believing that you're going to get to that goal, that big, beautiful goal. And that's what we call a C goal. And I skipped over B goals, and I'll touch on that briefly. A B goal is something that you think you can do. And most times when people have a B goal, it's far reaching, but it's not far enough reaching, because deep inside, before it's even embarked on, they think that they can do it. They know that if I do this a certain way and that I can achieve that. So then when you embark on that goal, you take the steps necessary, you start taking the steps necessary, and then it just kind of loses its zeal, because it's not a fantasy. It's not absolute. It's not something that came from your imagination, something far reaching. So that's a B goal. And, you know, oftentimes people don't achieve these B goals, but those C goals, that's what you really want. That's what comes from your imagination, your higher faculty of the imagination. We have 6 higher faculties, and the average person cannot rattle off the 6 higher faculties, but they can rattle off see, hear, smell, taste, touch. Right. And those are what the majority of people in our society, and they say 95 out of 100 people in our society operate off of, is our 5 senses, our see, hear, smell, taste, touch. And the thing is it's the rudimentary part of the brain that you're utilizing. And you know, you're not performing at a much higher level than a farm animal, as they say. And, you know, I hate to be harsh, but that's what they say. You know, unless you're using those higher faculties and focused on them and focused on developing them, you're not going to experience the joy that we, as the highest form of creation, human beings, you're not going to experience that if you spend the entirety of your life focusing on see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. Without goals, we're wandering around lost. Next, I'd like to talk about decision. We are not taught in our K through 12, our bachelor's degree or our master's degree. Those are the things that I've earned. We are not taught in any of those entities. I studied for a master's in business administration, and no one taught me how to make proper decisions, how to make sound and proper decisions. And the thing is everybody can see the results of the decisions that you're making because you wear them. You wear them in the environment that you create. We create every one of us create our own environment. It's not circumstances or people or things that create our environment. It's us. We create our own environment. We are our own entity, and everything that's around us, we are the total sum of our experiences, of our decisions, and so on and so forth. And if you don't have the ability to make sound decisions, you're going to live in chaos. And you know, the people who are living in misery and poverty, they haven't focused on that ability to make decisions and make sound decisions, and so on and so forth. You can't see people make decisions, and it reminds me of this beautiful quote from James Allen. He says, "We think in secret and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass," right? And that's the thing. We're all thinking in secret. We're all doing our things that people do. We're judgmental of ourselves, judgmental of others, and so on and so forth. If you can get rid of judgment and ego and stuff like that, you'll start to, and I'm talking from experience, you start to feel fulfilled, and your hopes and dreams and wishes, you start to see them manifest. I am absolute walking testimony. I would have never thought in a million years that I'd be in an entrepreneurial role that I'm in right now, but it's because I study every single day. Another little tidbit about myself: I turned off my TV 2 years ago. I don't watch TV I don't watch a second of TV, and it's been incredibly fulfilling. I can't believe how amazing it makes me feel to turn off that TV. Of course, I'm aware of what's going on. You can't help but not be. I participate in social media. But what I focus on is I want to better myself, and I want to listen to the type of people who are going to be instrumental in helping me better myself. We can progressively realize that we're the ideal always, and it's just such a beautiful thing. There are so many resources, books, and YouTube videos, and so many beautifully high-performing people and compassionate people who want to help others realize these beautiful gifts that we were given, these universal gifts that we were given. It's fantastic. So I quit watching TV. I read books over and over again. I experienced some very high success just from reading a book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, written some 110 years ago. And I've read the book countless times, and it has paid so many dividends to me. I can't even believe it. It's changed my way of thinking. This is the Wallace Wattles collection, but The Science of Getting Rich has been instrumental in, just manifesting me being here talking to you folks today, having the honor and the privilege of being a keynote speaker for Toastmasters, the quintessential speaking organization. It's fantastic. I love it. So people don't see you making decisions. You make your decisions in secret, but people see the results of your decisions. So that means they see the decisions that you're making in your environment, in your appearance, your clothing that you wear, the car you drive, the house you live in, the social circles you run in, the type of profession that you are earning your living, all that. People see the decisions that you made, your ability to make decisions. And they talk about how order is the universe's first law. And the better you get at making decisions, the more orderly your life becomes, and everything just starts to fall into place. And I'm speaking from experience. It's incredible. It's the most worthwhile field of study I've ever embarked on in my life. Now, the opposite of decision, they say, is ambivalence. And the Oxford Dictionary states that the ambivalence is the coexistence in one person of opposite feelings toward the same objective. That's heavy duty. That is incredible. That it's how many times have you experienced ambivalence? And that's the opposite of decision. And successful people make decisions. They're confident. They have a high level of self-esteem, and they make things happen. Let me tell you about one of the greatest decision makers who ever lived in the history of this country. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but his name was John F. Kennedy. And JFK decided early on in the 1960s, at the beginning of the decade, he reached out to the father of the American space program, Dr. Wernher von Braun. He asked Dr. von Braun, "Doctor, what is it going to take for us to get a man on the moon and to return him safely to America or to the Earth? What is it going to take for that individual to get to the moon and to be returned safely to the Earth by the end of the decade?" Very short, very to the point answer. Dr. von Braun answered by the will to do it. The will. That's another higher faculty, ladies and gentlemen. The will. The laser focus that you know you want something so bad that you have such an emotional attraction to it and an emotional connection to it that there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have laser focus and you're going to achieve it. There's no doubt about it. You're going to get it. And what did we do? Something that had never been done in the history of the world for the thousands and thousands of years that human beings existed on this planet. Everything, there's nothing created or destroyed. Everything is already here. All the technology, all the materials were already here to get the Wright brothers to create an airplane and to have human beings flying all over the world. Things that we take for granted were just an idea in somebody's imagination before. The idea of building a rocket ship and flying to the moon and returning safely to the Earth with the precision of a fraction of a second, that happened because of a human being just like all of you. Wernher von Braun, JFK, the Wright brothers, Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein, they were all people just like you and I. They fell in love with an abstraction. They fell in love with an idea, and they weren't going to let anybody thwart their desire to create, to change the world. All I want to do is change the world. I can't remember who said that, but that's what I want to do. I want to change the world. I want to be a household name. I want to communicate this way of thinking to the entire world because I believe that is exactly what the world needs right now. We need compassion. We need love. We need desire. We need decision making. All these incredible things that we are able to do, but for some reason we think that other people can do things that we can't. It's because we're so used to ourselves. We know ourselves so well that we get to this point where we think that these other people have something that we don't, have some ability that we don't, and that's not true. It's education is not the key to it all. There are a ton of people, millions of people in this world walking the streets with degrees coming out the end of their business cards, as my mentor Bob Proctor says. Degrees coming out the end of their business cards and they can't even find a job. Why is that? It's because they're not thinking in a certain way. They're not thinking subconsciously. They're letting their conscious mind control everything that's going on in their world, and they think that their intellect, once you earn this master's degree, I was guilty of it. I earned my master's degree and I thought, oh, sit by the phone, wait for that sucker to ring. Everybody's going to be offering me all these incredible job opportunities because I earned this master's degree in business administration. But that is obviously not the case. So you have all these people with degrees coming out the end of their business cards and they're jobless. But on the other hand, there are a ton of individuals out there who are basically illiterate, who can barely read or write, and yet they have created these incredible multi-million-dollar corporations. Why is that? The answer is because they have created paradigms. They've created multitudes of habits within them, things that they just do naturally that create success in their lives. It's an absolute beautiful realization, and I have been incredibly humbled by this ideology and understanding that it is possible to succeed on an incredibly high level if you figure out how to think in a certain way, how to act in a certain way. And that's what Wallace D. Wattles talks about in The Science of Getting Rich, thinking and acting in a certain way, having that beautiful attitude, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. Those are incredible things to focus on. And you have to think in a certain way. You have to feel, you have to act. That's your personality. That's your attitude, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. That's your personality. That's your attitude. Your personality is your personal reality. The way you think, the way you feel, and the way you act, that's what you're known for. If you're known as a cynic, if you're known as somebody who's constantly looking at reasons why you can't, you're gonna embody and encompass can't. And I'd also like to talk about the power of I am. Be careful of how your self-talk is. You know, people jokingly criticize themselves or use self-deprecating humor, and I used to be incredibly guilty of that, and it did not pay any dividends to me. It did not add any value or increase into my life. It just made people laugh, you know, and that's I found that out. Being humorous, I mean, it's fun to joke, and it's fun. Laughter is the best medicine. They say that for a reason. I love to laugh. I still laugh. I still love, and everything is beautiful. But be careful of I am. How you're talking to yourself in your head. You think, 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. And what the crazy thing is 90% of those thoughts are the same exact thoughts that you thought yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before. So if you're thinking about the past all the time, you're going to keep experiencing the past time and time again. You're going to be like Bill Murray living in Groundhog's Day, you know. If you know that reference, you're just going to keep creating the same thing over and over again if you keep thinking about the history. And you know, I'm jumping around a little bit, and I tried to be way more structured in this, but I'm just going with it, and it feels fantastic. I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. So I want to talk about sleep. We spend a third of our lives sleeping. 8 hours a day, ideally. You know, some of us get sick, some of us get less, you know, so on and so forth. But all in all, the average human being spends a third of their life sleeping. And that means that you are unconscious. There's a reason why they call that unconscious when you're sleeping, is because your subconscious is the only thing, the only reality, and your subconscious has no ability to differentiate. It has no ability to accept or to reject. All it does is accept. So what does that mean? Sleep is incredibly sacred. That is your subconscious mind, your doing mind, your action. And if you aren't emotionally involved in something, you're not going to do it. You can say you want to do something, and it's the want isn't going to make things happen. You got to have that burning desire, that love. I want this so bad, and I will do anything it takes. I will not make excuses. I will only accept results. So what do? How are you training your subconscious mind before you go to bed? I would venture to guess a very large portion of you probably spend a lot of time right before bed thinking about, you know, man, I got this going on at work tomorrow, or I have this to face tomorrow, and oh, this happened yesterday. I'm so mad at this person. They slighted me, so on and so forth. Then you fall asleep. That's marinating. You're marinating in that for 6 to 8 hours the entire night. And then what happens? You wake up, boom, you start thinking about the past and what made you mad, this person, this thing, this event. Oh, I'm going to hop in traffic and my commute. Oh man, I don't like that, you know, so on and so forth. So one of my mentors, Peggy McCall, she recommends thinking about your C-type goal fulfilled. How do you feel now that your wish has been fulfilled? How do you feel now that your wish has been fulfilled? That's what I've been working on for several weeks at this point. They say to lay on your back before you're getting ready to slumber off, and that theta is what they call it, is that time right as you're about ready to fall asleep and right as you're waking up, that you're just kind of, you know, fading in or fading out of that sacred time of sleep. How you spend a third of your day, how you spend a third of your life. And just start imagining yourself having your wish, your dream, your whatever you utilized your beautiful imagination to create. This is my big time C-type goal, this high, amazing goal. Think about that. What is it going to feel like once you fulfill it? Say you want to earn $1 million a year. Well, what if you're, as you're falling asleep, what if you're thinking about, how does it feel to be earning $1 million a year? What am I going to be doing on a day-to-day basis? Who are the people I'm going to be interacting with? How's my family going to be treating me? How is my relationship going to be with my significant other? Or if I don't have a significant other, which type of person am I going to attract into my life? You know, all those different facets, because if you're earning $1 million per year, you are doing something most people aren't able to do. And so that's my little piece on sleep. The wish fulfilled. Focus on the wish. Now that my wish, now that my dream, now that my C-type goal has been fulfilled, how do I feel? It's absolutely beautiful. So decisions, sleep. Am I willing? Am I able? Those are the types of things that you need to ask yourself before you embark on your goal. Burning desire. Do I have a burning desire for this C-type goal? And people tend to make excuses when they talk about, man, I'd love to take a trip to Paris, but I don't have the money. Well, the money doesn't matter. If you make the decision and you attach a burning desire to it, if you want it so bad, you'll make it happen. And I guarantee you, everybody listening to me right now has experienced that, be it on whatever level. Like, I want to live and I want to buy this house, or I want to buy this car, or I want to experience, I want to go visit this place. And you get that burning desire, that attachment to it, and you start working toward it, and you don't take anything for an answer. There's an infinite amount of money in the world. It's all out there. Don't entertain why you can't. You make the decision that I want this, and you work toward it, and you focus on it with your will, with your laser focus, and it'll manifest in your life. It's belief and faith. If you believe it and have faith, and you don't have any doubt in your mind that you're going to accomplish this beautiful goal, then you're going to accomplish it. 9.9 times out of 10, you're going to accomplish it. And you're successful the minute you make the decision to start working toward that goal. You are successful the minute you decide to start working toward that goal. You're a success. And if you're working towards that goal, you're going to experience failures, because you cannot succeed without experiencing failures. And when you're experiencing failures, that doesn't mean you're a failure. The only time you become a failure is when you quit. That's the only time you're going to become a failure, is if you let yourself quit. If you let some excuse or some outside entity, person, thing, what have you, event, circumstances, as they say, if you let that deter you and you ultimately decide to quit, that's when you become a failure. Other than that, you're going to be working towards your goal. You experience little failures, and you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start working toward it again. Persistence, perseverance, all those beautiful high qualities that you know that are within you. You know it. You know that those beautiful qualities are within you. And you have the ability to accomplish any type of feat you want. And don't blame. We are the sum of our thoughts. And I heard one of my mentors say, we're always blaming this and this. Oh, I wasn't able to do this. I quit this because of this. And they're blaming. And have you ever noticed that blame, if you throw a hyphen behind the B, it's to be lame. If you're blaming, you're being lame. You're not you're not working towards your fullest potential. And responsibility has been probably the most important and most impactful thing that I've experienced in this field of study. I take full responsibility for every single thing in my life, and now I experience freedom. And that responsibility is 100% the key to freedom. If I want to be free, I got to be me, and that's a beautiful realization. The key to freedom is taking full responsibility for every circumstance in your life. There's no outside entity. People, they make excuses, and people say, because of these circumstances, because I wasn't able to succeed. And what George Bernard Shaw said, this is one of my favorite quotes in anything facet of this field of study that I've come across. He says, George Bernard Shaw says, people are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want. And if they can't find them, they make them. Make your circumstances. Create your world, cause and effect, not cause and effect, cause and effect, A-N, cause and effect. You be the cause of the effects that happen. You be the cause that, because you are. And be willing to give your life for it, because you're already giving your life for what you're experiencing right now. So you might as well focus on a big, beautiful C-type goal and start working toward it. Give your life for it. And that's how passionate you have to be about it. You're responsible for your happiness. You're responsible for your health. You're responsible for your wealth. You are responsible for all of that. Take responsibility. If you want to be free, that is the key to freedom. Take responsibility for your health, for your wealth, for your happiness. There's a reason why they say happiness comes from within. That's another beautiful, beautiful thing in this world. All these embarking on this field of study, all these little euphemisms and analogies and these little sayings that you hear, they start to take on this incredibly high meaning. And I mean, these little key catchphrases, it's fascinating how much more relevance and importance that they have. Another beautiful quote as far as responsibility is concerned, the great Winston Churchill said, responsibility is the price of greatness. So I think, is that correct that I have 5 to 7 minutes remaining? I don't want to overstep and go beyond.
Awesome.
So
you're doing awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So lastly, I want to talk about something that I feel that I'm very good at. And that is leaving, and this is from my man Wallace Wattles. I read this book time and time again. I can't even tell you how many times I've read it. And he says, leave everyone with the impression of increase. And that is what has come easiest to me. My beautiful fiance Alexis talks about how my genuineness comes through no matter what. Like when I sell our products and services to people in the sign business, the water machines, myself as a coach and teacher for human potential and success, I leave everyone with the impression of increase. And how do you leave everybody with the impression of increase? You give them sincere and merited compliments. You don't just blow hot air at them and give them some kind of weak, superficial compliment. You watch what they do well, and then you tell them, I notice that you do this very well, or I notice this about you, and I really appreciate that. I admire that. It is absolutely incredible that my creator gave me this ability. I'm so thankful for it. My ability to leave everybody I come in contact with, with the impression of increase. It's paramount to me. That is, it takes treat others the way you want to be treated to a level unprecedented. You will experience the good in your life that you desire if you do this one thing. Have that beautiful, great, positive mental attitude. It doesn't matter what you know. It totally matters what your attitude is, how you think, how you feel, how you act. Actions trigger feelings, just as feelings trigger actions. Think about that. Study your subconscious mind. Study Wallace Wattles. Read books that do things for you time and time again. It's the craziest thing. In all my studies, bachelor's degree, master's degree, I would read, remember, repeat. All intellectual, all conscious mind. Once I put those books down, they were down for good. But since I've embarked on this field of study, I find myself reading books time and time again. Wallace Wattles, The Science of Getting Rich. I'm about ready to throw you a beautiful gem right here. U Squared by Price Pritchett. Do you want to make quantum leaps in your life? Do you want to succeed on a level that you never even fathomed before? This is like a 35-page book. U Squared by Price Pritchett. I recommend it with everything I have. And then, as they say, this is the Bible, if you will, of human potential and success. And many of you may have it because of the organization that you're in, but here it is right here. The Great Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. These books changed my life. They continue to change my life. And I am going to succeed, and I have succeeded on unprecedented levels that I couldn't even fathom just a couple of years ago. It's because of the way I think and the water I drink. I've released 50 plus pounds. I spent my 20s and 30s being 250 to 270 pounds. Now I'm around 215. I'm planning on getting down to 197. Lean and mean, baby. The more of this water I drink, this is made. That's the thing. You don't have to focus on these little things in your life that you want to change. If you focus on yourself as a whole, you start studying yourself as a whole, you'll find that you just automatically make better decisions for yourself. You start to value yourself more. You start to make better dietary decisions. You start to make better decisions as to when you state I am. You make that, I am is one of the most powerful phrases in the world. What comes after I am is very, very important. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful life that I'm living, and I would love to share with any or all of you. Please friend me on Facebook. I do Facebook Lives on a very regular basis, and I have been since the beginning of January, and it's been an incredibly fulfilling experience. If I hadn't embarked on that back in January, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. Laria had the belief in me to reach out to me and thought that I was worthy of giving a keynote speech to the most applauded speaking organization in the world, Toastmasters. Been around for upwards of 100 years, like coming up on it. It's pretty amazing. And lastly, what I want to share with you is an example of you don't manifest / create what you want. You manifest, create what you are. And who I am has changed beyond what I could have ever fathomed, and it's starting to happen at a really, really high level, and it's snowballing, if you will. Good tends to snowball. Bad tends to snowball. There's good in everything. There's bad in everything. And if you choose to look at the good in every single thing that you experience, you are going to experience good throughout your life. So just to talk about how I've changed real quick, last weekend, Alexis and I went to go play a round of golf in Loveland, Colorado, one of the most beautiful municipal golf courses I've ever played in my life in Loveland. It's called Mariana Buttes. We were paired up with these two gentlemen, and we were instantaneously friendly with these gentlemen, and we had a great correspondence throughout the round. And at the end of toward the end of the round, one of the gentlemen invited me to come on his highly valuable golf trip to Northern California. 1 4-hour round. I've been playing golf for 20 years. 1 4-hour round. This guy invited me on his buddy's trip, on this beautiful golf trip where all these high-performing, high-thinking individuals. This guy owns I think 5 or 6 distributorships of air conditioning units in Northern California. I'm getting ready to go to Lake Tahoe in a month and be with these guys and experience a beautiful time with fantastic, high-performing people, because I've changed who I am. That wouldn't have happened even if I would have played golf with these guys a year or two ago. They wouldn't have invited me. I wasn't who I am at that point. But I've attracted who I am. I've attracted these people. The guy gave me his business card. It's right here. His name happens to be Jim Allen, aka James Allen. Shares the name with James Allen, As a Man Thinketh, another fantastic book. But anyway, I didn't read the back of his business card until the next morning. And I'm going to sum it up with the type of people that I'm attracting by thinking, talking, leaving the people with impression of increase, all these things. Understanding these rules of the game. He has this on the back of his business card. I didn't see it till the next day. Give people more than they expect and do it cheerfully. Treat everyone you meet like you want to be treated. Do the right thing, even when nobody is watching. Commit yourself to constant improvement. Work at something you enjoy and that's worthy of your time and your talent. Be honest and dependable. Take responsibility for your actions. Otherwise, the rest won't matter. Have you ever seen a business card with something like that on the back of it? What are the chances? I decided that very morning that I was going to go play that round of golf. And that's one of my favorite parts of being a golfer, is getting paired with incredible people who I would, and sharing something in common, something so beautiful as the game of golf. It has been instrumental in my success and my ability to persist and persevere. It's just added so much. I used to say it from the get-go. Golf taught me what passion is, and I'm obviously a very passionate person. I hope I didn't overstep and go too long, but at the same time, I feel as though I communicated to you folks very well what I've learned and what I have the ability to teach you. Reach out to me. I'd love to entertain and speak with any or all of you. All I have is love in my heart. I love all of you, and I look at every one of you. Every human being that I interact with, I look at as my relative. Thank you.
Silbs Silbernagel, thank you so much.